That's what I always want to hear. All right, draw. Draw, partner. Scribble, scribble, scribble. Mine's better than yours.
A monkey. I drew a monkey.
Of course, we're talking about the Old West, and there is no other place better to explore the Old West here in New Mexico, particularly Lincoln. Lincoln Historic Site is unique in that it manages most of the historical buildings in the community. Lincoln is a town made famous by obviously the most, well, really, arguably the most famous name in the Old West, Billy the Kid.
That's right, walk in the footsteps of Billy the Kid, Pat Garrett, and other famous and infamous characters of the Wild West. And Chad did just that when he headed out to Lincoln. Draw!
While the town of Lincoln may appear to be a sleepy, quaint hamlet along U.S. Route 380 in southern New Mexico, its history boasts a trail of blood, corruption, and violence, giving rise to one of the greatest legends in American history, that of Billy the Kid.
On the morning of April 1st, 1878, Sheriff William Brady was walking down the street from the Murphy Dolan store over to the courthouse, which is on the other side of the San Juan Mission. The night before, Billy the Kid and 5 or 6 of his friends had come into the Tunstall store and were eating breakfast. They saw Brady walking down the street, ran around back, and right over here there was a 10-foot adobe wall. When Brady was right about here in the street, they opened fire. Brady had 11 shots on him, went down almost immediately. When Brady was lying in the street there, Billy the Kid and Jim French ran out, and some say they were going to pick up Billy the Kid's rifle that Brady had confiscated. Some say they were going for their arrest warrants that Brady had on his body. Anyway, when they were out of the street, one of the other deputies who'd taken shelter in a house across the street shot one of them in the leg.
The legend of Billy the Kid is one of only many stories told in the streets and boardwalks of historic old Lincoln town. The bloodshed and corruption that spawned the Lincoln County Cattle Wars is documented in the town's 39 historic buildings, a large number for such a small piece of land.
So this is Tunstall's living quarters. It originally had another wall right here, and this entering room here was his bedroom. The middle part was the kitchen, and on the other side of the wall right there was the parlor for Tunstall. Our wounded regulator comes in here. Sam Corbett brings him in, cuts a hole in the floor, and puts him under there with a pistol in both hands and covers him back up.
Wow.
He then goes and cleans the blood trail up from the front door in here, and 3 times that day Brady's deputies came in the building looking for the wounded regulator and weren't able to find him.
Visitors from around the world flocked to Lincoln to travel back in time to a West that was wild and untamed. It is one of the few places in America that serves as a portrait of a bygone era, one that has captured the imaginations of generations since the late 19th century.
Why is the town of Lincoln so important to preserve to not just New Mexico history, but the history of the United States and the Old West lore?
Well, preservation here is everything. We're consistently designated the best preserved western town in the United States. And as you know by driving in, you literally go back in history 130 years to the 1880s. Sure, we have paved roads and we have telephone poles and that, but many of the buildings in the inside, just like this one, are as they were back then.
Lincoln now faces new challenges. Time and the elements are deteriorating its buildings, and preserving the living history of the town isn't easy.
So water is wicking up in the bricks of the adobe there. And if we go in and take out those adobe and replace them, then that building comes off the National Historic Register, which we don't want. The interim solution is to stabilize it, and hopefully 5, 10, 15 years down the road, somebody's going to come up with a process that will repair that adobe and not have to take it out.
Gotcha. So if people want to, obviously we encourage everyone in New Mexico to come down. This is part of your history, folks. But if they want to take action, they want to let legislature know that this is important, do you encourage them to contact their senators, contact the folks in Santa Fe and say, look, we need to put monies toward preserving this history?
You know, I can't advocate that, but what I would say is, you know, if it's important to them, they should get involved. Call the Secretary of Cultural Affairs and tell Secretary Garcia that they support the continuation of Lincoln as it is. And I need to tell you at this point, Secretary Gonzalez has just been awesome.
That's great.
She's dedicated money and capital improvement and emergency funds to help us out.
So really, folks, you'll want to plan out an entire day down here in Lincoln. There are so many places to see and so much history to absorb. For more information on the historic town of Lincoln, Billy the Kid, and other great places where you can explore history where it happened, head over to casa.com and click on the Style tab.